Alright, so we're back, of course, talking about some more Final Fantasy VII Remake, and today we're back talking about voice actors. We're talking the OG FF7 voice cast, and what we're talking about today, frankly, is just non-news, but I was asked to cover this, so here we are. So somebody had tweeted at Steve Blum recently and asked him if he was going to reprise his role in FF7 Rebirth. Steve Blum, of course, being the, at this point, original voice actor for Vincent Valentine, voiced the character in both Dirge of Cerberus and also Advent Children. This person tweeted at Steve and says, "Please tell me your return as Vincent for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because I will cry if you're not," to which he simply replies, "They recast us all, sorry." And this is where we hop back to about 20 seconds ago when I said that this is frankly non-news, because we've known that they recast the English voice acting cast for a long time now. At this point, it's 3.5 years. We're working towards like 4 years of knowing that they've recast the English cast. So, like, why would you even bother the guy? Because I'm sure he's been asked this question hundreds or thousands of times over the last couple of years, especially since, like, Remake started really kicking off, like, the 2019 marketing until now. And especially since he wasn't in Remake, like, the character of Vincent wasn't in Remake. I'm sure Steve Blum gets asked this question at probably, like, every convention, dude. Hundreds, thousands of times over the last couple of years. Like, just leave the guy alone. Like, just accept it. I know you don't have to like it. Maybe you'll never accept the fact that there's a new cast. But it doesn't matter what you do or say or a change.org petition. It's never changing. Just let it go. It's just so absurd at this point. Such a tired, old conversation, man. Remake itself with the new cast itself is almost 3 years old. April of 2023, we're at a 3-year-old game at that point, and people are still complaining and talking about the old cast. And look, to be honest, I love Steve Blum as Vincent Valentine. He's only voiced the character twice, right? I've never even played Dirge of Cerberus, so my knowledge of Vincent Valentine being voiced is simply Advent Children, and that's it. But the voice that he does, which is simply just kind of his voice, more or less, is the perfect voice for Vincent, I would say. It's like what I would imagine Vincent's voice being if I'd never heard him voice before. And when we talk about the legacy cast, I always forget to mention him, because we always say, like, Rick Gomez and George Newbern. Those are the two that are, like, the real big ones for me, and then I could take or leave the rest of them, except for Steve Burton. I just do not like Steve Burton as Cloud. I think Cody, it's not even comparable. It's just, there's not even a comparison there. I think what's kind of crazy, too, about all this is the people that want the legacy cast to come back are, like, just ignoring how good the new cast is. Because I think with just about every single fucking character, dude, the new cast is just better. You can make arguments for some of them. Sephiroth is obviously a hot topic. And there's people that like, they like Steve Burton as Cloud. There's obviously Rick Gomez and Caleb Pierce. And I can honestly agree with Caleb Pierce's voice acting now that I've played a good chunk of Crisis Core Union. In the earlier parts of that game, it is kind of rough, bro. It's very squeaky, very high-pitched. It's just the takes that they kept in the game are kind of weird. But somewhere around the midpoint of Crisis Core Union, Caleb Pierce gets a lot better. I do add a bit of a side note here, because there's a lot of people that defend Caleb's like high-pitched voice towards the beginning of the game. They say it's because he's like supposed to be like a young teenager, and that's how young teenagers sound and stuff. But like, I was a 17-year-old boy. I grew up around a shit ton of 17-year-old boys, and that's just, none of us really sound like that. Like, you're pretty much an adult at that point. Your balls have dropped years ago. Your voice has changed years ago. So like, that's not how like the average 17-year-old sounds. So that's simply untrue. I think something else that's so frustrating about this whole conversation, the legacy cast versus the new remake cast, is that years ago you had Steve Burton, obviously the voice of Cloud Strife, maybe the most prominent voice in all of the FF7 English cast, telling people that to essentially embrace the new cast. Like, they're going to do a great job. He even gives props to Cody Christian specifically.
And then on a final note, I know this. Things happen. Doors close. Other doors open. This is a door opening for a new cast of Final Fantasy. I'm sure they're going to be incredible. I know Cody Christian's going to give it everything he's got. So I'm wishing the best to him and to the rest of the cast. And just for everybody to be supportive, because Final Fantasy is awesome, by the way. And the remake is probably going to kick some major butt. So support everybody, love everybody, and it's all good. And I just want to say one last time, thank you so much. I'm grateful for everything and the time that we had together. So I just want to leave that message, and I'll see you soon.
Now, the video was posted by Steve Burton on Twitter years ago. I want to say like 2019 or so. I've had it on the computer for a long time, and we've talked about it before in previous videos, and I think even when he first dropped it on Twitter, we did a video and talked about it and stuff. But he's telling you guys back then, years ago, to embrace the new cast, and if you claim to be a fan of him, why wouldn't you listen to what he says, man? Cloud Strife himself, the original voice of Cloud Strife, is telling you guys to embrace the new cast, and you simply are ignoring it and complaining in comment sections and replies on Twitter and making change.org petitions. Those are still a thing for some goddamn reason. And I don't know how much more to say this without being like an asshole in this video, but it's just simply never going to happen. It'll never happen. It doesn't matter how much time you tweet about it. It's just not going to happen. The cast is what they are now, and it's going to be like that until the end of the remake project, and maybe even beyond for all we know. And just the absurdity of people still complaining about it years later, but people thinking that they should like reuse the legacy cast going forward with Remake and stuff like that. So like Steve Burton was voice Cloud in Rebirth, and we're just simply supposed to ignore that it's not the same voice as Remake. People wanted them to like re-record all of Remake's lines with the legacy cast, so Steve Burton would do all of Cody's lines, and George Newbern would do all of Sephiroth and Tyler Hoechlin's lines, which, I mean, he could probably deliver that on that, let's be honest here. But you have like Bo Billingsley doing all of John Eric Bentley's Barrett lines, and I don't know how good the guy is as a voice actor. I've really only heard him in like Abbott Children and a little bit of Dirge of Cerberus. I just don't think he has the same delivery. That's the thing too. People are so hyped on the legacy cast all the time, but like somebody like Bo Billingsley as Barrett, there's really no attachment to him. He's barely in Abbott Children, and I know him and the rest of the cast are a part of Dirge of Cerberus, some more than others. But it's like, Bo Billingsley's been voicing Barrett for like 20 years and like 14, 15 different projects and shit. It's like one or two. So I have absolutely zero attachment to him as the character, and a trend we're seeing with this video, I think John's just way better. And debatably, John's delivery of like Barrett's lines are like the best in the game in terms of voice acting, right? He's like a lot of people's favorite character and shit. To kind of wrap it all up, man, the point of this video is that like we gotta move on, dude. We have to move on. Life is about growth. You gotta move on. You gotta move past it. It's like being stuck on an X. Like growth, move away. Like they're not voicing these characters anymore, at least in the Remake project. They could voice them in other things potentially. They've, Square Enix has said that before in the past, that this new cast is for the Remake project and that these other people could voice the characters and other stuff. I never knew what that meant, but they've said that before. Who knows if that'll ever come to fruition? But as of right now, this is the cast for FF7, and it's not changing, dude. You got to get used to it for Rebirth and the third game, and potentially DLCs and maybe spin-off games, etc., etc. They re-release Dirge of Cerberus. They do like a remaster or kind of a Crisis Core reunion thing. Whoever the new voice is for Vincent Valentine, that's going to be the guy doing the voice. It's not going to be Steve Blum's Vincent Valentine. And you got to get used to that. You got to accept it because it's not changing. Like it's just, that's the whole point of this video. I'm trying to put it into your minds, man. I'm trying to telepathically through the microphone, through the fucking YouTube app. Please move on. But my dudes, that is more or less the video. So in the future, whenever it's revealed that whoever the hell it was that voiced Sid, Highwind is no longer voicing that character, let's not act surprised, right? We knew that Steve Blum was not returning as Vincent Valentine. We've known this for a long time. We've known this since 2019. It really wasn't even news then. It's definitely not news now. So like, let's move on. Let's all grow as a community. Let's move past this, right? Let's look to the future. That's the video, my dudes. Subscribe to the show if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DavidYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.